Hello, welcome in this new favorites video. So I'm going to share mainly books, old books, really excellent readings I wanted to recommend that I read this past month. I also went to a thrift store 10 days ago when I was visiting my family. I showed a few glimpses on that on my previous video, my vlog. I couldn't film a lot, by the way. Sometimes I'm asked if I could film where I go. Most places don't like you to film, really. They don't like that at all. So I try to film a bit very quickly. I will go back there with a friend this summer. So together, maybe it's going to be a little easier to film. The bus was actually always around when I was filming, so I couldn't film very comfortably, I would say. So it's the reason I don't film a lot. And sometimes when I go to my Brocante, it's his home, so I'm not going to film his place for privacy reason or that. So, but when I go to outdoors Brocante, when they go back to normal, I will for sure film when I have the possibility. So I only brought back there from the thrift store some frames, a coffee pot, some shelves in my living room, really few things because I was traveling in train as always, but I have excellent books at least to share. First book I'm going to share is L'étoffe du diable, The Fabric of the Devil by Michel Pastoureau. I mentioned him many times, but these books are so good, so interesting. When you're creative, you're an artist, or even a creative person, or interested in artistic things, just to understand colors better, all that. He's a specialist of colors, of medieval patterns, and of animals. So this book is about the history of stripes from the antique era today to today. So it was really interesting to realize that stripe patterns were connected to banished people in the society for most of history. It's only really recently from actually the American flag that it started to be seen as something a bit more positive. It was used already in the 18th century, a little in costumes, clothes, a bit, but it's mainly at the very end of the 18th. And before that, it was always connected to leprous people, prostitutes, musicians, all that, and later in the 18 prisons, but just really late. So it is interesting to understand all these things and why in the medieval era it was extremely negative, extremely negative. And it was in a painting when you had someone dressed in stripes, it was usually a negative character, a bad character who was there to attract your eye on the painting so that you would follow a certain order when you were looking at the painting. And I thought it's very interesting to understand all that and to understand that in the medieval time, stripes were messy, disorganized, and suspicious. I recommend it if you like stripes, if you are surrounded by stripes, you dress with stripes, use stripes in your art or in your drawings, paintings. Recommend this book because it's interesting to understand things a bit better. Now I have two books connected to Victor Hugo. So the first one is Hauteville House, a book about his house. The first house he bought in Guernesey when he was in exile for 20 years. And it's a book about his house. So we can't travel a lot these days. We will see how things evolve. But I thought it was really interesting to... I like books anyway. I like books of home decor, all that. And I was really interested in that because I'm fascinated by the relation between an artist, a writer, a creator, a poet, musician, and his home, his apartment. How his homes inspire him, house or studio, all that, but also how he has an impact on his decor, the decor which surrounds him, her. So I'm fascinated by that. When I travel, I always visit artists, musicians, poets' house. That's my favorite thing to do, even more than spectacular castles, all that. I love to see how, in which room they work, they created their things, and their books, their paintings, all that. So I was fascinated by these books because he's probably one of the very first, I think, artist, writer who had such a spectacular house. He could buy it with the money he earned with his collection of poems, Les Contemplations. And I thought, in 2020, do you imagine someone could buy such a big house with the money earned with the poems? Do you think it would be possible these days that something like that happen? I don't think so, but well, I think it's just another time when people were really enjoying poetry and could buy it and the poet could buy for himself a really nice home. So he bought this house and he was traveling, doing a lot of brocante and a lot of things to furnish it and to create something totally not normal. His wife was not so happy about that, so because it was not very comfortable house, it was just like a strange house with following no order, no style, nothing, just his own imagination. So I will link just under the video a really nice little documentary. It's in French because I couldn't find anything in English related to this house, and you can watch it if you want, just to have an idea of how it looked like. Also, the book, I bought it online, you can find it online easily, Hauteville House. So it was when he was in exile in this English island, because he couldn't come back to France for many years, and he created for himself this unbelievable home. So I find it encouraging, interesting and inspiring also for my own home to go much further when I see what he did with playing with colors, with textures. It's the opposite of a minimalist really these days, and I think it feels good to see someone who could be a maximalist and create something completely from another world really. I recommend the book if you can't go. I recommend also to watch the little documentary that they have done about his house. It feels just encouraging and inspiring to see someone who created such a crazy home. So if you like crazy artist home houses, maybe you would love to know more about this house. Another book by Victor Hugo. So I was listening to a lot of radio program about Victor Hugo during the lockdown. That's the reason. And I realized I didn't read a lot of his books. He wrote about 10 novels. Some are very famous. I think abroad you mainly know Les Misérables and Notre-Dame de Paris with the title The Hunchback of Notre Dame. But he wrote many other books, and I read actually not the famous ones when I was a teenager. And I wanted to read Notre Dame when there was the fire last year, and I realized I never read it, so I found a really nice edition, which I didn't start it yet. Well, I just started 2 pages. So I bought this one and I thought I'm going to read this one, that's for sure. But I read another one in between, because this one, L'Homme qui rit, so this is the title, The Man Who Laughed, was such an intriguing book, and I was really excited to read it. His biographer, his specialist of Victor Hugo, mentioned in this radio program that this book was the favorite book of Victor Hugo's fan. The people who really enjoy his books, that's their favorite, above all the other ones. So I was intrigued by that. And I was even more intrigued when he said that the main character of the novel, called Gwynplaine, he was the inspiration for the character, the Joker, in the Batman series. And I thought, wow, that's so interesting. We don't know that very much. It's not really known. Maybe you knew it. I don't know. Let me know if you knew that the Joker doesn't come from Batman, really. It comes from a Victor Hugo's novel. It's really obvious. It's really, you can't make the mistakes. So the title, of course, he is The Man Who Laughed, L'Homme qui rit, and it's the history of this character. It's completely different from the atmosphere of Batman, of course. It takes place in the 18th century, and it's the story of this character who had a problem in his childhood. So imagine a sect. I'm not going to give any spoilers, just the beginning, because it just, I thought, was very intriguing. He imagined in the 16th century that there was a sect who was stealing children, practicing some surgery on their faces to make them look horrible and monstrous in every way, so that they would be in display in maybe fairs and for aristocrats, all that. So they would have the purpose to entertain people. And the main character, Gwynplaine, he will have something like that practiced on him. So that's just the beginning. Then the story was so good, so well conducted, so well crafted. I couldn't really I didn't want to finish the book really. Just sort of book that you feel so happy to have after maybe many good books, but not so pleasant one, you find just an excellent one. And this one was just beyond any of my expectation. It's now in my pantheon of my favorite, top 10 favorite novels of all time. I really enjoyed it so much. Maybe someone will be interested to read it after watching this video, you never know. So I would totally recommend it. I think these days there are so many series, so many things on TV, online. I have no idea, I don't watch that, but we forget, and I think people forget that there were excellent, even better, maybe sometimes storytellers in the 19th century, and you could go back to that and be completely amazed by how well conducted, crafted the story is, and you don't want to finish it because it's just so good. It was just an excellent book, and I was lucky to find a really nice old edition at the old bookstore because he had it, and the engravings here are really, really good. In the old bookshop, I found a few months ago excellent books too. I didn't read them yet. This one, they are big. I love big books. And I mentioned stripes. I love striped books. And this one is a book by Georges Sand, Les Maîtres Sonneurs. I read it already when I was a teenager, and I just thought it's nice edition. It's not a very old one. It's mid-20th. But I love the blue stripes, and I wanted to read it. Just nice, perfect stories for summer. It's just like countryside stories. She was very famous, Georges Sand, for her countryside novels and beautiful short stories. So I was happy to have this book maybe for my summer readings. And this one was a big one, a very big one. I was intrigued by the title. It also comes from the old bookshop. The title is Les Reines, the Queens, and I thought first the cover was magnificent, really beautiful, with a butterfly here, there is a feather, all sorts of signs. The engraving illustrations are excellent, so well, beautiful, so delicate and well crafted, well done. So it's just a gallery of portraits of ladies from all over the world, French, English, Italian, historical writers, artists, all sorts of ladies. So I started to read it already, but I didn't finish it. I have so many in progress, and he's super heavy too. So, and I like it also because he has golden on every side. As you can see, he's all golden, so I thought it was just a treasure, and it was not very expensive, honestly, for the beautiful book it is. I just thought it was not, so I was happy to have him in my collection. Yes, it's quite a big book, and I love the theme. I love the idea of this book. The writing is also really excellent. So. And when I was in the thrift store, I mainly came back with some frames, so I'm going to show you. I have one just behind me, which I think I'm going to keep it. The other ones, I will only keep the frames and the paper parts. I'm going to put something else inside just for the frame. They were very inexpensive, 3-4 euro each, so I just thought, yes, they will be perfect for my galleries of portraits I want to have in the bathroom, in the entrance hall, everywhere. You always need frames. So. And I also found at the thrift store this beautiful engraving showing a picnic of a gentleman, gentlewoman having a nice picnic. And there is a sentence just under the picnic, which is just les folâtres jeux font les premiers cuisiniers du monde, which is just difficult to translate, so I'm not going to translate it. But it's just a nice countryside photo, just perfect for the season, and maybe it's going to end up in my kitchen because it's a bit of food theme, so I will see. For now I let it here because I don't have a frame which works for it. So yes, that's another found of this season. I will leave you here. Thank you very much for your encouragements and your kind messages. I'm going to start now a series of pieces about the Beauty and the Beast. You're going to see that. I didn't work on the Beauty and the Beast for a long time. I never done a lot of things, so I wanted to start to work a little on that. So you're going to see that in the next video. You can subscribe if you don't want to miss the next videos. You can give a thumbs up if you like one of this book, even if it inspired you maybe to read it. And I hope to see you very soon.